Hi, my name is John Stevenson. Welcome to the Guaranteed Retirement Guy Show. Today we're going to discuss the biggest lie that people believe about annuities. Okay, so this lie could be subjective depending on what side of the equation you are on. Okay, so if you're the client versus the advisor trying to tell you not to buy it because they don't grow very well, versus the advisor who's trying to sell you something that looks pie in the sky. So with annuities, and I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go through some options because I'm going to go through some realistic options. The biggest lie, in my opinion, that people believe, what they see, what they hear on annuities is the growth. And some of these growth are just crazy high. And I'm still getting people to reach out to me. Like I had someone reach out to me last week. His advisor showed him this annuity that was going to grow at 49% in 1 year and like 29% in another. I'm like, why is he showing you this? Like, this is so bad. Like, please, advisors, if you're watching this, please be more be more transparent. Show what it's really going to grow, and it's not going to be anywhere close to that. And if you're new to the industry, I can tell you right now, they never do that. Okay, you can't illustrate it. At least I'm not saying that they can't happen, and it hasn't happened on one good year, but it's not something that you illustrate to your clients that it's going to grow like that, because it doesn't. And it's the biggest lie, and it sells the product. It helps the advisor make the commission, and then the client is stuck with something that maybe earns 1 or 2% of that, and it's not good. And then they realize after the fact that they should have bought something else, but it's too late. They're already stuck in the contract. They got surrender charges if they try to get out. And a lot of times advisors like me are stuck dealing with that mess, because then they'll reach out to us and they'll be like, well, this is a bad contract. We need to replace it. And we'll look at it and say, yeah, you do. But here's your options, right? You have surrender charges, so you have to have a bonus product. And if you're looking for growth, well, you're going to be stuck into another product that gives you a bonus. Yes, you'll get a bonus, but then you're going to have growth of like 3% after that. And so it's like you either stay there or get into something else that's a little bit better, but not much better, right? And so if it's an income need, then a lot of times they're pushed a product, they're sold a product for income. And that's a problem too, because then you're making income off of a product that could have been much better for you. You could have had double the income, and you just didn't know about it because the advisor didn't tell you about it. Okay, I hate that, and so that is a lie. It's a lie it's a lie that annuities make a ton of money in growth. That's a lie. Okay, and it's also a lie when you are shown a product that shows you these hypothetical returns of how much your income is going to be, when it's never going to happen. Never going to happen. And so when I sell annuities, when I help my clients, it's all about guarantees. Okay, it's all about the contract. Okay, if it's not in the contract, it's not guaranteed. Who cares? Okay, whatever they're illustrating is not going to happen. So I'm going to share my screen and let's go over this. Okay, this is someone who lives in Vermont. They got $750,000. And they're young. Okay, they're both 54. Actually, the husband's 54, the wife is 52, and they're going to take income at 65. So in 11 years, and this is the highest contractual guaranteed income they can get. In 11 years is $118,000. Pretty good. Really good. Okay. Now, if they decide to retire at 62, it's going to be less because it's just not going to have as much time to grow. But they're still going to get decent income. It's like $90,000. Okay, and that's just because this top one here. I'll just show you this one for an example. Clear Spring is growing their benefit base to $1.5 million, multiplied it by 6%, giving them $90,000 a year. Okay, and if you look at the way that grows, it's an income rider, and it's giving them 8% compounded roll-up rate after an 8% bonus up front. And so, yeah, that's what you buy it for. The contract is why you buy it. You're buying it for the $1.5 million pension multiplied by 6%. You're not buying it for this because that account value is only going to grow to what, $975? That's nothing. That's not going to give you very much income. So it's not, you can't take $975,000 and just turn it into lifetime income of $90,000, right? You got to have an annuity contract that grows a lot bigger than that. That's why you buy it for the contractual guarantees. And you notice it's not a lot of growth. You're not buying this for growth. In fact, you'll notice the balance will run out. A lot of times advisors will show these huge high in the sky numbers where they're like, there's high income and there's high growth. You get both. Congratulations. Except you don't. So if you look at this and say, okay, well, I've got high income and I've got account balance that's running out, then that's more realistic. Okay. So anyways, that's for the income side. Let's go over to the performance. Let me show you some lies. Here you go. 23%. Wow. That looks so great, right? 190% participation rate in this index I've never heard of. Okay. And it's probably was made up 3 months ago. Okay. That's what I call a lie. When you're illustrating that to your client and you're saying, here you go, you're going to make all this money. It's going to earn all this money. It's not going to happen. Okay. And when you look at these, you can see, 10 years, 10 years. You notice there's no 15, 20 because they're new. Okay. And then you look at some of these other ones, NASDAQ, Bitcoin. Okay. Well, now they have a longer back tested return. So let me pull this one up just to give you an example of what I'm talking about. All right. 750. Obviously, if there's no growth in the market, then there's no growth here. But then they show you these gigantic, ridiculously high returns. Your 750, Mr. Client, after 10 years is going to be worth $5 million. Sign here. Give me a break. Are you serious? The stock market is going to, if you're putting the S&P 500, that'll double that 750 to 1.5. Okay. And then in another 3 years, maybe that'll grow to 2 million. Okay. Let's just say you have a good 10 years, that 750 will probably grow to 2 million. Okay. This is saying it's going to more than double that. It's more than double the stock market. Yeah, right. It's not going to. I can just tell you right now with confidence, it's not going to. But I have advisors all the time that are selling their clients on these things. So now let's go to the allocations. Let's see what this is based off of. So scroll down and say, oh, look, 100% is in this NASDAQ Bitcoin. Oh, look, live since 2025, not even a year. Okay. That's what I have a problem with this, is they're throwing this in here and they're making them believe that this is going to do it. And it's not going to. It's not going to. And this is a 2-year participation, which means it's going to do a point to point from now till 2 years from now, and then give you whatever that index is doing. And they'll give you 100% of it. The problem is that index is brand new and you're the guinea pig and you have no idea if it's going to work. Now, if I didn't want to lie, I'd say, well, here, let's put it in something that's real. The S&P 500. Okay. And the participation rate is 63%, not 100% because it's real. Okay. Now that's a little bit better of an illustration. So I'll go in here and say, okay, well, based off of that, then your account balance is going to grow to, look at that, 1.994, 2 million. That's the thing. But hey, you're not going to have any market risk whatsoever. So still that's like, no market risk. And I'm still going to earn the same amount as the stock market. Still seems a little fishy, right? Look at that and say, all right, these returns are definitely a little bit more reasonable, right? Maybe a little bit more realistic. But in my opinion, that's still not realistic because an average fixed index annuity return does not average that. So, I mean, we're looking at 10%. That's a lot. That's a lot to illustrate over the next 10 years. And that to me is borderline lie. So you go in here and say, okay, well, and that's why when I'm doing this, I'm going to go into something like, I'm going to say, well, first off, this one, the last one we looked at was Exonic, a good company, but they've only been selling annuities for 2 years. Okay. So I don't have a track record I can rely on. So now I go to a company like Lincoln, who's 120 years old and has a good track record with their renewal rates. Okay. Because I want them to keep their participation rates at decent levels every year. And a lot of times you'll buy these fixed index annuity products and it will change the participation rate at the end of each year, which they all do, but they'll change it drastically down. And then that illustration that you just showed them as an advisor is now null and void. That's the problem. And so in order to get away from that, I look at options that will give me the S&P 500 and that will give me a high renewal rate. Like every year it's more consistent. So if they're going to give me half the market, then I know there's a very high chance that they're going to continue to give me half of the market, right? Okay, let's see if I can find this here. All right, so this is with Lincoln. Let's see here. So 750. So after 10 years, it might grow to 1.77. See, that's better. That I can get behind that, okay? Because now I'm dealing with a company that has a high renewal rate history, a good renewal rate history, meaning if they're going to give me 55% of the S&P 500 right now, there's a high likelihood they'll continue to give it to me because they have had a good renewal rate in the past, right? That's what I look for. I look for the reputation and I look for the renewal rate history. Delaware is another one that does that. Gillico, National Life Group, they all have good renewal rate histories. So you got to look for companies that have good renewal rate histories with the right index. Okay, that's also important. So if I'm looking at this, I'm like, all right, 1.77. But let's say it doesn't do as well as it did in the last 10 years. Okay, maybe 1.6. That's something I can say that I could be comfortable saying you'll probably get that. And you might get higher than that, but I try to be realistic because when I meet with you again, I don't want you to be upset. I want you to have realistic returns and not be sold the product because I wanted to sell it, wanted to make a commission, right? So anyways, I just wanted you to see this because that is the biggest lie I'm running into and the biggest thing I'm trying to overcome when people are contacting me because they're showing me these crazy numbers from their advisors that aren't true. And their advisors are just incompetent and they're not showing what they need to be showing. And they just want to make that commission. And it's super frustrating. So anyways, I hope this video is helpful. I'm just trying to kind of open your eyes as you look around and you're looking for annuities and you're trying to figure out which is the best option. If you're looking for income, choose the income rider. Okay. The income rider is the best option in my opinion. The SPIAs and DIAs are good too, but whenever I look at them and I compare them to the income rider always pays out more. And people that meet with me, they're usually looking for the highest net return immediately. They want income. And so typically the income rider provides a higher income. So if you want to look at those, go to my income rider calculator on johnstevenson.com and then reach out to me. There's a book a call link right there and you can book a call with me if you want to purchase an annuity. Otherwise, you can do it right below this video. So I totally no nonsense. I just want people to know what's going on. And if they're looking to purchase, I'd love to help them. And if you're not, that's not a big deal either. If you like the video, like, subscribe, share, comment below. I'll answer your questions. I'm not here to try to sell you something. I'm here to educate. And of course, I make my money selling annuities, but at the same time, education is first and you have to know what you're buying and if it's something that's right for you. A lot of people that reach out to me, that's what they want. They do want that lifetime income and they do take that portion of their portfolio and they'll allocate it for income so that they can let the rest of their assets grow. That's typically what people will do, especially if they're wanting more market growth. They'll just kind of separate them out like that. So anyways, hope this is helpful. I appreciate you for watching and we'll see you next time.